Hey everyone, I've got a good meal recipe for you guys tonight. This recipe is going to be a little bit more time intensive, take a little bit more prep than what you normally see me do for videos, but I think you'll find it's worth it and you're going to get more than one meal out of it. So this might be a good Sunday prep meal for you. So what I'm going to show you tonight is stuffed quinoa peppers. You don't have to use quinoa, you could use rice. But I'm going to use quinoa instead of the rice. It's just another type of grain. If you haven't heard of it before, you can find it at any grocery store. It's a little bit higher in protein. Again, I wouldn't use it as your main protein source, but it is another good grain to use. It's kind of got a nice nutty flavor to it. So the first thing you're going to want to do for the stuffed peppers is get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. I've got that going on right now. And I'm going to turn my stove on here to low. I've sprayed it with a little bit of Pam spray, or you could use olive oil depending on what you'd like to use. And I'm going to add in some chopped up celery and onion to the pan. Kind of put that in there to saute a little bit. That'll probably be plenty. And I'm also going to add in some garlic too. I love garlic, so again, depending on how much you like, this might be too much for you. I can never have enough garlic. Okay, grab my spoon here. So you're just gonna let this kind of mix in, heat up. This is just to help soften up the onions and the celery a little bit. So you're gonna let this heat up probably about 3 to 4 minutes on the stove top. Okay, so while that's warming up, the other stuff that I have going on over here is I have my peppers. I've already, for purposes of filming this video, I've already got them cut up, halved, and cleaned out on the inside. You're going to need some type of baking dish to bake them in the oven. The other thing I have here that we're going to add to it is some diced tomatoes. This one's the unsalted basil, garlic, and oregano. I love those. And what you're going to do is you're going to use the tomatoes. We're going to add that in the stovetop in a few minutes. And what you want to do is kind of reserve the excess juice from the tomatoes. We're going to use this to pour in the dish with the stuffed peppers. This is just going to help cook the peppers so they don't get dried out when they're in the oven. So you want to try to reserve as much of this juice as possible. So I've got that set aside to use for later. And it looks like this is getting heated up pretty good. You can smell the garlic. The other thing that I'm going to add to the stuffed peppers is some meat. So you can use whatever meat you want, ground turkey, ground beef, ground sirloin. I'm going to use a combination tonight of lean ground turkey and lean ground beef. The other thing you could do if you don't want to use meat or you don't have it in the house, you could even just do black beans as your source of protein, and those also work nicely in the stuffed peppers. Alright, so now that this is coming along, I'm going to go ahead and add the tomatoes to that. And you're just going to want to stir this up. What we're going to add to this is 3/4 a cup of quinoa. That's kind of what it looks like if you guys haven't seen that before. It is just a smaller grain and it does have a nice nutty flavor, but you will notice if this is the first time for you using it, it does have a little bit of a different texture to it, but I really like it. So we're going to add 3/4 a cup of that, and the other thing we're going to want to add is 1.5 cups of water. The quinoa is going to need that water to cook it and make it good, so you just get that water added in here. I'm going to go ahead and add in the quinoa. I'm going to turn up my stove now because what we want to do is mix this up. Whew, it's a little too high. Mix this up. You're going to want to bring this to a boil. And once you've got that brought to a boil, you're going to want to reduce it to like a simmer, so a low heat. Cover it and let it sit for about 20 minutes in order for the quinoa to cook. And as that's going on, what you can do is cook your meat in the meantime that we're going to add to this mixture afterwards. So I'm going to let this keep cooking until it gets to high, and then I'm going to simmer it. In the meantime, I'm going to get my meat cooked. Okay, so as you can see, the quinoa mixture we have going on here is cooked. You can see the grain itself gets a little fluffier. What I'm going to add now is a little bit of salsa just to give it a little more flavor. Again, this is optional. I've got some salsa here from Trader Joe's. I'm just going to add a little bit to it to give it a little more of a kick. I'm gonna add that in. I've got 8 ounces here altogether of the lean turkey burger and the lean burger, so I'm gonna add that right in the pan too. And again, also optional, but I'm gonna add a little bit of reduced fat cheese in there. Mix that all up and kind of see what I'm working with. This basically is gonna create your mixture that you're gonna put into your peppers. All right, so there you can see. How delicious does that look? All right, make sure my oven is all shut off. And let me get my peppers here. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna pour the leftover juice down in here from my tomatoes. You can see that kind of covers the bottom of your pan. Again, just gives it something for your peppers to cook in. And what I'm gonna do now is just fill each of the peppers with, let's see, I'll use this spoon, with your mixture, your quinoa mixture. So you're gonna want your oven preheated at 350. And after I fill up all my peppers here, see I've got this one. How delicious does that look? You're gonna fill up all your peppers. You're gonna wanna put some foil over top of it, and we're gonna throw it in the oven for about 40 minutes to bake. So I will show you what these beauties look like when they're all done. All right, so it's been 40 minutes in the oven, and voila, they're all done, ready to eat. Really not much more to it. What you could do is when you take these out, you could use some of the tomato juice that's on the bottom if you want to drizzle on top, give it a little more flavor, but these have a ton of flavor. They're absolutely delicious and clean. Real healthy food for you to eat, good source of protein. Just takes a little more time to prep, but I think it's definitely worth it. So I hope you guys give this a shot, try it out, see if you like it. I'll have the nutritionals posted as well to the best of my ability. Again, you guys can see it's kind of an estimate with how much is in the pepper and what size your pepper is. So I'll give you my best estimate there with what's in it. But I hope you like it, enjoy, and give this a thumbs up. Keep checking back.